Hey guys, so this is an impromptu video. I've had a few requests to actually go through the setup on my BZ3. So I'll start from the basics and I'll work through. This is just going to be a short video hopefully, so let's see if I can get through this quickly. So starting off with, we've got Atomic 5500 kV motor. So this is something that didn't come with my kit. I ordered this separately. Okay, that's a Jennings servo, similar to the Atomic one. I can put the spec in the description later, but it's the same size as an Atomic servo. It's pretty much the same servo, just has a regular plug on the end rather than a Atomic plug, which is the smaller JST plugs. It's a Metal Gear digital servo. So for speed controller, I've got an Atomic ESC. Okay, now this bit here you can ignore because this is the gyro, and this whole thing I've stuck on here is just so I could seat the gyro low down to enable the shell to fit. Didn't use the gyro at all when I was using the grip tyres on the track, so that's just defunct at the moment, and I will be removing it altogether because this car is really for racing, not drifting, and that'll be something I'll do in due course. Obviously the receiver is the receiver that goes along with the NB4. I think that's the mini receiver, so that's for my NB4. Okay, we'll just power the car on. Alright, let's go through some more things that don't require the power. So yes, that's the basic setup. The diffs that come with this are ball diffs that are adjustable, and on advice, my rear diff is slightly tighter, my front diff is slightly looser, and that just enables the car to corner better. The suspension setup I've got at the moment is very, very soft, and I've done that because of the bumps in the track. All I've done is move these little adjusters right to the top, so the car, when it hits those bigger bumps on my track, just absorbs them, and that really helps. If it's too stiff, it flips the car up into the air. So the suspension is quite soft, and that's on a regular racetrack it's very smooth, but with my drive and the hump from the garage onto the drive, you get a ramp almost, so you need something to try and stop the car getting too much air. Okay, so that's the suspension setup. The tyres I've got on here at the moment, so these are different to the tyres I used the other day in the race video, in the test video. These are these. So I've got these on the front and the rear, and they're very grippy. Okay, so those are the tyres I used front and rear today, and they're amazing. And this car, and this is where it separates it from the rest. I don't really want to spoil too much, but I've done some footage today of my other cars, but this one is very hard to flip. This BZ3, the settings, the way the motor's in the middle and low, the servo there, everything is quite low, even the metal parts, everything just seems to be so low that it doesn't want to flip. So I'll just give you an idea of the wheel offsets I've got here. Now the rear, I've used 3mm offset both sides, and that gives a track width of about 75mm. Okay, so those are offset 3 front and rear, and they're Atomic wheels, very good wheels. And the front track width is, sorry, you can't see that, can you? Let's try that again. About 71. Okay, now what I love about these Atomic wheels, just to point out, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this. You can see there's some writing on the inside of the wheel there. I'm going to see if I can focus on it. That's the actual offset value on the wheel. Same on the front. So the front 2.5 offset. Let's see if I can get that right. You can read that when it's in real life, but let me just turn my transmitter off. So yeah, 2.5 offset narrow at the front, 3 offset wide at the rear. And the reason I changed to these tyres, they're very grippy, and for the tighter parts of the course, it enabled the car to really turn in tightly. That said, there was one occasion I did manage to flip it, but on the whole, pretty good. Okay, I'll show you the type of battery I use in a moment, but let's just go through the speed controller settings. So I've got my programming box here. So if you've not seen this done before, you plug this into the speed controller, turn the speed controller on, and these lights come on. Okay, then each light, I'll see if I can bring this in closer so you can see it. Each number corresponds to a value on this list. So item 1 running mode is forward, reverse with brake. Okay, go to the next one. Item 2, so that's the voltage at which it'll save the lipo, and it's on 3.2, which is correct, so that's 7.4. 3, overheat is enabled. 4, neutral range, I've got it on 3, which is wide. Start mode, I've got it on 8, so it's not the most aggressive, but it's quite aggressive. Maximum forward force is on 100%, number 5. Number 7 is the maximum reverse force, so if you look, you can see I've got it on number 2, which is 50%. Right, number 8, maximum brake force is set to 5, which is 100%. Number 9 on the list now is drag brake force. Now I'll try and zoom in even more. And you can see there's options there for the drag brake force. I've got it on 1, which is 0. So again, that was on advice. When you let go, the car will roll. Now for some cars that's great, for other cars it's not. But for this car, it works pretty well. Number 10 is initial brake force, which is 0%. So it's only when I apply the brake, I get a brake force. And number 11 is the motor timing, and I've got it to 3. So it's kind of middle. And with the motor timing, I always forget which way around it goes, but I think if you have it lower, the motor runs cooler. That's what I remember. Okay, so that's the programming of the actual speed controller. Let's turn that off. So you can change those values with that box, and it does make a difference to the car there, and you can adjust those values because it will affect the handling of the car. So the only other thing which is mainly different on my car is I've got a 3D printed body mount for the McLaren MC12. And when I tried the body with the body mount that came with it on the BZ3, it didn't seem to sit as well. So I re-glued the body mounts, that's using hot glue. And I 3D printed my own body mount, which just gives it a little bit more clearance. I'll show you with the body on why I did this. And it's especially good when you've seen in my track that the car takes air. Okay, so it gives it a little bit more clearance. I've lost the wheel arch off. This is my basher shell. I've actually got a nice one which is untouched with the spoiler still intact, but this is the shell I race in because I don't mind it getting bashed up. But you can see I've got lots of space. I actually think the track could be a little bit wider at the front. I could maybe do some offset washers, or maybe even get some wider offset wheels. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with this setup, and the car is running pretty well now. I'm pretty happy with it. So the only difference to what I ran the other day when I uploaded the video is I had Mini Z 30-degree radial rear tyres treaded, and regular, I think these are 30-degree narrow front high grip Kyosho tyres, and they were pretty good. And the only thing I found was on some of the corners, just on the tighter corners towards the top of the track, it couldn't get around as easily. I was having to slow down or brake harder. But with these tyres on now, I can really get around those areas quickly. Like I said, the only thing is I think it's a little bit prone to flipping now, but it takes a lot. This car is really stable, and I think that's down to the way this belt drive works. Okay, the whole belt drive setup itself with the motor in the middle. like I said, I did test the other cars today. I don't want to ruin everything discussing how good the other ones were. But the only issue I had today was I broke the servo on my GLA, so I couldn't test it. I really wanted to film that one. Okay, I'm just going to remove this cell. Lipo cell. So what you have at the side, you have like a little clip that holds the battery in. I've got Velcro on my batteries for the other cars because we swap between them. And some of the cars I use Velcro to hold it in. Okay. So this is a Ternigi Nanotech 300 milliamp 7.4 volt lipo battery. And I'll show the charger I use for this as well. So this is my charger. And, oh, missing something, bear with me a second. So you select the type of battery. So in this instance, if I go back, program select. Okay, so you can choose the program. So you can see different types of batteries. Lipo battery, enter. Okay, we're going to balance charge it. Okay, time to plug the battery in. So I have to use a special lead with this battery because it's only got one plug. Some of them have two, some of them have the red JST plug. So this is so the balance lead can be plugged in. Okay. And then bear with me, guys. That'd be easier, wouldn't it? Okay, press start, hold it. So it's balance charging and it will stop by itself. And there you go. So that's my setup. That's what I use. And oh, for the transmitter, let's move on to that. The settings I had for this particular track. Obviously, every setting is different for every track. But let's show you on mine. So the main thing was my steering EXP. I had it turned up to 69%. So what that does is it flattens the curve here. So when you're steering, it's not super sensitive at the start. You can do small adjustments, especially on the straight. But when you need it to turn at the end, you still get that rapid change when you need a sharp corner because there are a lot of hairpins on my circuit. Okay, everything else was pretty much set. I did use the ABS, and I think that was actually quite important. That's the settings I've got for my ABS on this car. They're a bit more, they're different on the other cars, but I'll show you those when we finally get around to showing the footage of those around the track. But if you don't have the ABS on, I found that it really jars the car when you brake, almost causing it to flip if you're not careful. So that was the main settings. In terms of my endpoint adjustments, my left is on 73, right is on 71, and that's just simply where the servo hits the ends of the, where you can hear the servo hitting the end and making a funny noise. And that was that really. So apart from that, no special settings really. And there you go. So that's it really, guys. So I have got some footage, more track footage coming. Where's the car gone? Yeah, I have got some more track footage coming. If there's any questions, please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. If you do that, then I can keep making more content and growing the channel. And the bigger the channel gets, the more time I can spend on making videos for you guys to see and reviewing different cars. And if there's any particular car you want to see, please let me know and I will make a video. So that was my setup. See you guys next time.